Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 13 of the Knitting Esquire, a YouTube channel all about my crafting and knitting adventures. Today I have two finished objects to share with you, only one work in progress, and a couple of procurements. On top of that, I would like to update you on the shawl that I have chosen, actually, that you all have chosen for me to knit in the Florida State Fair. So without further ado, let's jump right in. You can find me over on Instagram as Candace Sue ESQ Knits and on Ravelry as The Knitting ESQ. You can also find all of the details regarding my projects and their project pages in the More section down below. I will post links to all of my Ravelry project pages, as well as links to any of the designers and yarn dyers and makers that I talk about on today's episode. So why don't we just go ahead and scoot on in to finished objects. Of course, my sock mania has continued, and that is what I have to share with you. Now, I feel like today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter than normal. Um, even for 2 weeks, I'm kind of feeling like I don't have a lot to share, but we'll see. So over the last 2 weeks, I have completed two pairs of socks, and half of a pair of socks. So I guess 5 items is not terrible, but when we're talking about socks, I feel like that's not a whole lot to share. So, you know, it is what it is. This is what you get from me this week. Uh, but we'll see how it goes. So, finished object number one is a pair of vanilla socks, and I knit these on US 1 Addie Turbo rockets, 2.25 millimeters. Those are 9-inch circulars, and I knit these with 56 stitches, which is the size small, on the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern for 9-inch circulars. I have it memorized at this point. I don't even have to look at the pattern, but that's what it is. I always do a 20 round 2x2 rib cuff, 60 rounds or 60 rows. However, would it be rounds or rows? Rounds, rows, same. For the leg, and for my size foot, I always end up at 50 rounds for the foot before I start the decrease on the toes. So with this pair of socks, this is Freckled Whimsies. It came from the Wednesday series Club from Netflix, and this colorway is called Wolfing Out. So I think it's perfect for our little wolf friend on Wednesday. And this is on Freckled Whimsy's Serendipity base, which is I keep looking over at my notes. I should probably move them in front of me to be a little bit more, savvy here. Is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. It has a really good plumpness to it. And honestly, on this base, I almost feel like I don't know, it just feels very, very sturdy. I like both of her bases, her Splendid base, which is the 8515, which is my absolute favorite. But the Serendipity base for Freckled Whimsy socks is actually like a very good base. Um, I started these socks on July 14th, finished them on July 21st, and this makes pair number 19 for 24 of 2024 and pair number 7 for summer sock camp with the Crazy Sock Lady. There's still time to participate in summer sock camp, and there's great prizes. I think she just did a round of prizes, maybe on her last episode or the episode before, but she's kind of doing them randomly throughout the make along. And so I still encourage all of you, if you are interested in participating, there's still plenty of time. The the make along goes until August 31st. So you have the whole month of August to at least get, a pair of socks knitted, and you can submit them on her Ravelry page, the Crazy Sock Lady. And also tagging it on Instagram is another option to participate for potentially being drawn for prizes. Other than that, it's just a really fun community, and watching all of the other people making socks just brings to the joy of sock making. So this is pair number one, or finished object number one, for today. And while I take these off the sock blockers and get pair number two for today's episode. So as you can see, in 2 weeks, I usually, if I start a pair of socks on Sunday, I usually get them finished by Saturday. Um, so it's a pretty consistent schedule, as long as there's like nothing major going on. So I can tell you, when I talk about my work in progress, generally on Sunday, we don't do a whole lot on purpose to kind of get ready for the week and start work. And we're usually pretty busy. We are usually pretty busy on Friday nights and Saturdays. So I really like to have Sunday to regroup for the week. Have learned that I can knit almost a whole sock on Sunday. And that's still like, we might go out for a little bit, go, maybe get some groceries, do something for an hour here or there, plus laundry and getting ready for the week. So I usually at least get halfway through the foot. Starting from casting on, I can usually get about halfway through the foot on my Sunday, which really makes a dent in my sock knitting, because then that gives me the rest of the week to finish up the one sock. So usually I can finish that up by Monday or Tuesday, and then start on pair number two on Wednesday. But from Wednesday to Friday, I don't have a whole lot of knitting time because of work. And so usually I find myself getting just far enough so that I can finish it on Saturday during sports, or in the evening when we're kind of winding down for the night. So that's usually like a pretty consistent rhythm for my sock making. Um, so I also don't consider myself a fast knitter, but maybe that would make me a fast knitter that I can complete the majority of a sock in one day. Um, so pair number two. These are also big surprise. Sorry, I have something in my throat. Vanilla socks, 9-inch circulars, US ones, or 2.25 millimeter, always on the Addie Turbo rockets. And these are so fun. I love these a lot. Again, 2x2 cuff, 20 rounds, 60 rounds for the leg, 50 rounds before I start decreasing for the toe. And this one, I decided to do just a contrasting heel and keep the stripes going. And the funny thing is, I don't know what happened. This, let's see, how did this go? This sock right here in the front, again, was like my Sunday knitting, and I made it through this, but then everything lines up until I get right here. How weird is that? I don't know if it was the yarn, maybe it was my tension toward the end of this one, but I don't know. So this yarn is so plump. I don't know how often I've knit with Night Owl fibers, but it makes me want to go buy a ton more self-striping yarn from her. It is a 4-ply, I think. Let me look at the tag here. Oh, it doesn't say. I thought I saw somewhere that this is a 4-ply. It is superbly plump for a sock weight yarn. Fingering weight yarn. This is her Barn Owl sock base, which is a 75% Superwash Merino 25% nylon base. And this is one of her Gilmore Girls collection colorways called Driving Mrs. Gilmore. And I just think it was fun. It was cute. The heel is just some scrap yarn. This is one of the yarns in my Stephen West shawl back here from Goosey Fibers. And I think this one is like the cashmerino type base. I don't know. I just thought it looked good where I hit the heel on this one in the gusset with the peach. I thought that this was like a great contrast in here for that. So I think that that is the majority of the stats on these socks. I started these socks on July 21st and I finished them on July 27th, so 6 days. And this makes pair number 20 for 2024. Almost there. 4 more. And I'm halfway through the next one. So really 3.5 more. And pair number 8 for summer sock camp. So I am moving right along on my sock making this year. I definitely will be completing my goal. I think I did at the beginning of this year when I went over all of the projects that I had done for 2023. I think I had counted out how many socks I had made for the year, and I set a goal to make more than that this year, which I'm pretty certain I'm close. So maybe we should go rewind back to episode 1 or 2. And I think I highlight what I did, but I can find those stats in my other notebook later. I don't know why I just took these off the sock blocker. But this year, if I'm definitely on pace to hit 24, I'll probably have more than that. So it'll be a fun time for me to beat that many socks next year if I choose to set that as a goal for myself. We will see. I like how quickly socks get off the needles. I feel like it gives me enough variety in my making to where I'm not getting bored and I see myself, completing things, which is always motivating. Whereas some of the larger projects, I, I do struggle with those. Honestly, I'll be completely honest here. When I did the Stephen West shawl, I really didn't know if I was going to end up finishing it just because it's a ginormous project to get into. So I was really, really proud of myself for completing that one. So that is also why I wanted to make sure I made a decision on entering into the Florida State Fair early enough on to give myself enough time. So if I do hit any kind of roadblock or anything like that, I can remotivate myself somehow and finish out the project. So we will see how that goes. But that wraps up my finished objects for this episode. So why don't we go ahead and talk about my works in progress, which is only one because I am monogamously knitting socks. I don't know why. I don't know what's in me right now where I just look at other projects. And I really do think that the one that I had started with the Yarn Cafe creation, 31 Days of July, My Little Pony Advent, I really had high hopes of completing that. And I don't know what fizzled about it. But now when I look at it, I'm just like, oh, now it just looks like a chore. It still does. I haven't gotten past that yet. So when I do, I'll let you know. I'll bring it on and share it as a works in progress. But truthfully, I keep looking over at my Taylor Swift blanket, and I know I haven't talked about that in a few episodes. I'm 2 colors behind, which isn't bad. We had the whole month of July off. And so I think on August 13th, a new portion of the pattern is being released along with the next color. So I think I would like to hopefully tell myself it's okay to slow down on the socks a little bit and pick that back up and get caught back up on that project. All while, trying to get started with my future project shawl. So Um, this work in progress is a sock. It's again a vanilla sock from the Crazy Sock Lady. I am knitting it on 9-inch circulars, US 1, 2.25 millimeters. And this is a new to me maker dyer. Um, and I'm absolutely loving this yarn. It's really, really super thin. It feels like the perfect Florida sock to where it's not too heavy and your feet are sweating, but it's still covers you up and you can warm up your toes or give you that cushion when you're walking on, like most of my floors are tile. So it gives you that kind of extra cushion. Um, so I'm really loving this yarn and it's just fun. So I am making a pair of Christmas socks, and this is with Mama Jess Knits sock base. Which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and um I think that this is a 2-ply. It feels like it because of how thin it is, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, this colorway is great. It reminds me not only of Christmas, but of watermelons. So it could be watermelon socks for the summertime and Christmas socks for Christmas. But the colorway is called Christmas Time. It was one of her recently released, and I think I caught it right when it sold out very quickly. She does have a pre-order open, I believe now, or is opening one shortly. So if you really like the colorway, go check it out. Go support local, small dyers. I love doing that. Um, so this came in the mail in between podcastings, and I couldn't wait to scan it up and start working on it. So you haven't seen it yet. Da 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 da. So here we go. Look at how cute those are. This one I decided to keep the heel, the come on. There we go. Keep the heel the same colorway and just do a different cuff and a different toe. It did come with this mini, so this mini is matching. And I started these on Sunday, July 28th. So I'm already done with this sock, and I am nearly, I would say this is about halfway, if not pretty close to being finished. Um, not finished. This is nearly halfway, just halfway for my cuff. So, hopefully, well, not hopefully, by the next podcast, these will definitely be a finished object I can share with you and show off. Hopefully I find some mojo on anything other than socks, but at least I'm crafting and creating, and we have a long car ride on Saturday. We have um the Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp starts up. So excited for football. Actually, there's a football game tomorrow night. I'm excited to have football back. But we are going to training camp on Saturday, which is in Tampa. So that's about, an hour and a half-ish, maybe 2 hours if the traffic's not great. It should be because it's early in the morning, of great knitting time. I'll be able to bring this in with me and knit while we watch training camp. And then Saturday night, we have a Premier League that we game for West Ham in Tampa that we are also going to. So it's a full day in Tampa with lots of knitting, I am sure. So I think these socks will be done for my next episode. So those are some future weekend plans for you. And that is my current work in progress. So I can't remember the last time I showed that Taylor Swift blanket. It's sitting right here. I think I did. If I'm 2 colors behind, we took off July. So I'm through April. So I have January, February, March, April. So I have 4 colors done. I think that I will make that one of my goals for the next week or two to get caught back up on that. And then I can share that with you as well. I haven't. Okay, so yes. We will just go from there. I was gonna start talking about the shawl, but I'm going to go into procurements first, and then we can wrap up with which shawl I will be knitting. So, procurements. I don't have a ton right now. I have three items. So first and foremost, as you know, I have been purchasing the Goosey Fibers Owl Mail, which is like a monthly owl um inspired colorway that Goosey Fibers or Caitlin at Goosey Fibers is making. And this color is great. This one is actually based off of a moth. She kind of took some liberties on this month, but it's beautiful, so I'm not complaining at all. Um, it's not really a monthly club. She just tells when she's going to release it during the month, and then I go and buy it. I have every single one for the year. It is my goal to, not a goal, but I would like to have the whole collection. I think that it's just beautiful. So this one is called the Rosy Maple Moth, and this is the main skein. It is bright and cheery, and that is very accurate in the color. And I really love it. It's so fun. You get like these great little speckles. Come on, don't get my face. Get the yarn. Um, let's see, what are we doing here? I was not wanting to focus today on that. Um, so you just get these great little speckles throughout in some of the portions of this. There you go. And some of these bright pinks and yellows with a little bit of that, like, I don't know, grungy yellow in there too. I love it. And I also got the mini skeins to go with it, and these are just a ball of fun. So this is the same color, the main color there. And then it came with these like great, like vibrant, awesome tonals. And so I'm really loving this month's colorways. Um, I didn't think I bought this, but apparently I did. Mandy's Makings is doing the princesses from Disney. So I have the Belle one that I shared with you, and I also have the Ariel one that I was really excited about. It's beautiful that I shared with you. I did go ahead and purchase the Cinderella. Um, I, I I felt like I was contemplating, like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? But and then I looked at my history on Etsy, and I definitely had already bought it. So I don't know why I was debating with myself whether or not I should buy it, because I had already purchased it. Anyway, here is some Cinderella by Mandy's Makings. And got a little bit of white in there with her dress. And this is just like the image of her in her blue dress with the nice dark backgrounds. And last but not least, in my procurement time here, I don't know if this will end up being my last one. I did go ahead and cancel this subscription, but my Magpie Fibers Society came in. It's supposed to renew, did they say August 1st or September 1st? And I went ahead and canceled it, did not renew it. I've gotten it for 2 or 3 years now, two. And I have a lot of the yarn left. I don't necessarily gravitate toward this yarn, and I certainly haven't been gravitating toward the DK yarn. What they do is during the summer months, they'll do sock yarn, and then during the winter months, they'll do DK, and I just don't ever find myself really using the DK. So on top of that, I kind of felt like for the what you get and the cost and the value, it wasn't my favorite subscription. And I felt like if I was going to pay that much money for a subscription, I should find something that I'm really enjoying more and getting into. So I went ahead and canceled that subscription. I literally have no subscriptions right now, no clubs that I'm a part of, other than following Goosey Fibers for her monthly drop on the Owl Mail. So I don't know how I feel about that, but anyway, I think this ends up being my last box then from the Magpie Fiber Society. This is colorway number 37, and it is really pretty. It is just this delicate white, off-white with these great like teal and blue and purpley speckles. And this is on the Swanky sock base, which is an 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, which is my favorite base from them. I will still continue buying from Magpie Fibers. I like their tonals a whole lot. I just don't think I want to be part of this society right now. So I can always join back in later, but for now, I've decided to go ahead and cancel that. Um, so that completes all of my procurements for this episode. Not too bad. And so I really want to get in and chat about the Florida State Fair shawl. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your comments and participation. It was actually quite overwhelming to me to see all of you comment and interact with you, and I'm just very thankful and grateful for you. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. With that being said, I went ahead and I didn't even have to tally it up. I already knew just as the comments were coming in. It was definitely between shawl number 3, which is the, hold on, I dropped my book. Let me grab that with my squeaky chair. Shawl number 3, which was the Wild Swan by Ann Lisa Mygard and Nim Teasdale, or shawl number 7, which was the final shawl that I shared, which is called Dancing Between Raindrops, which was by Rosemary Hill. So it was between those two, and overwhelmingly shawl number 3, the Wild Swan. So I will slide that in right here. Has won. And so I'm not disappointed in that response at all. I'm actually super duper looking forward to knitting this shawl. It has been in my queue and my favorites for a very, very long time. I don't know why I didn't, try it before, but here we are now. That is my decision. I am going to, I've already purchased the yarn, and I am hoping to cast that on as soon as it gets in. So I went ahead and I decided that I really, really, really want the lace to pop. I want to see all of it. And I think the cleanest way to do that was to go with not a bare skein of yarn, because I have enough bare skeins of yarn where I could start the project right now, but I wanted to go with a true like snow white slash ivory yarn, which I think really plays fantastically into the theme of the Wild Swan. So I went ahead and purchased La Fourriette, I think is what it's called, from Magpie Fiber. It is again on their Swanky Sock base, which is that 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon base. I went through a number of other dyers. I looked at Yarn Cafe Creation because I really, really love her biscotti sock base. But her single skeins, or like her 100 gram skeins, are sold out of her snowball white color. And I didn't want to go into her like grand skeins because the smallest one was 300 grams, and that's just way too much. I think I barely need, well, I don't need even all of the 200 grams. So I looked at that, and I had looked at another handful of dyers that I love their tonals, but I just couldn't find the right white that I was looking for. A lot of them were more creamy, and I just really wanted it to have that like sheen, super white colorway. So that should be on its way. I'm excited to see that come in and get it skeined up, caked up, and cast on. And then, I think it was like the first real time that I had started reading the instructions for this shawl, and they actually have, it's a free shawl pattern, by the way, which is amazing. It is all charts, which is great. I have no problems knitting from charts, so that's fantastic. Um, but what I didn't know until I started going through the whole pattern, because as you know, you should read the pattern from start to finish before you start the project. They have instructions for multiple areas to add beading to the shawl. And one of the things that I thought of even before like presenting you all with these options was finding something that had like a beading element to it. And so now I'm contemplating doing one of the sections. It's one of the end sections with the beaded instructions, um, and adding a little bit more depth and element of color to the shawl by having those beads. Part of me was thinking like some iridescent beads would be fantastic with that white underneath, because then you'd get the sheen of the bead. But then part of me wonders, should I just pick like maybe a pink bead or an orange bead to go with the white for the swan and the beak being that orange? Um, do I try and find maybe like a metal color bead? Do I stick with a white bead with the white yarn and just kind of let it do that? If you've never knit with beads before or added beads to any of your projects, it gives the most beautiful drape. It certainly makes the garment or the piece, if you will, heavier because you're adding these beads, but it also just makes the yarn feel drapey. Um, I've done it with like a woolly wool yarn, and it even gives a more drape to that woolly wool, I think because of the weight of the bead. Um, so I'm just thinking that may be beautiful, but maybe it's too much. So if you have thoughts on adding beads, yes or no, and if you say yes, what color would you go with? I'm kind of liking having you guide me on this. And so I'm hoping for some more comments here. Would you go with beads or not? And if you would, do you think iridescent, white, color, pink, orange, green? I don't know. The yarn, and I'll share a picture of the yarn right here that I've purchased so that way you can see it. And then just give me your thoughts and opinions on whether or not I should add the beads. So that is part two of the Florida State Fair shawl. And I'm really excited to get this project started. I think it's very much motivating me right now. So hopefully I can keep up with this motivation and just knowing that I have like this end goal to work toward, along with, adding my fun sprinkle of socks here and there. I'm, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to this project. So that is that. Um, so I told you what we have planned for this weekend. Hopefully I will get another podcast in potentially next week. Maybe you can go next week may work. If not, I've been really trying to at least make it bi-weekly. My parents were here last week, so we were crazy busy, and I had to get the house ready because they were coming in on Thursday. And I normally, if I podcast on Wednesday nights, and then it's usually because my husband goes and does Dungeons and Dragons with his friends, and so um, he's not around and clingy and lovey. So it gives me time to do this, but that got canceled last week as well. So if they have it next week, I will try and podcast again next week. Hopefully, then I will have some yarn to share with you, and you will have some comments for me, beads or no beads, and I can get this project started. Um, so that is where I am at for now. And I think that kind of wraps up. I don't even know. I made it to 35 minutes. That's decent. I'm sorry it's not that long. I will try and make more content for you as I go along. Again, I this was a true 2 weeks, so the last one was like a month, so I definitely had more in there. So um, I'm kind of liking this 35-minute time frame. So um, I guess that is all for me today. Please remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, get those notifications, do all of the things that make YouTube happy, and I will talk to you next time. Have a great day, great evening, great week, and I will see you later. Bye.